Welcome to our second trip to Alaska. We visited Alaska in the winter back in 2018, and now we're visiting in summer. Our trip started by flying into Anchorage, renting a car, and driving to the Alaskan Wildlife Conservation Center. This place is amazing. They have over 200 acres and they take in injured and abandoned animals that you would find around Alaska. So if you really want to see wildlife on your trip, this is the place to go to see wolves, bears, moose, elk, eagles, foxes, and so much more. After this, we drove the hour back to Anchorage, got some rest, and met up with 10 strangers that we would be embarking on a 5-night hiking and camping trip throughout Alaska with.
I've never been known for my cautious side. You should know that I'm well aware. I don't want anything left untried. Will you come with me, mon cher? So let us just do my love and not stop to think any of this over. So let us just do my love and see where this road will take us now. It's not that you're timid, no one could say.
Austin and I flew into Anchorage, Alaska a couple of days ago, and then yesterday met up with a group of 12 people we had never met before, drove up to Talkeetna, Alaska, and now we're camping for a couple of days here. Earlier today, we did a wildlife boat tour on the Talkeetna River. It was really cool. We were supposed to see some awesome views of Denali, but it was a little cloudy, so we weren't able to do that today. But we're hoping that the weather will clear up a little bit tomorrow and we'll be able to see it. We also did a shorter hike earlier today, and now we're just cooking up some dinner and getting ready for the night. We've got our tent set up, as you can see, and we're just gonna have some beer, get to know each other a little bit more, and rest up for some more hiking tomorrow. But I just wanted to check in with you guys and say welcome to Alaska.
I've never been known for my cautious side. I know the wind that I stir is a gale. So let us just do my love and not stop.
The hike we did on day one was the Talkeetna Lakes hike in Talkeetna, Alaska. And on day two, we're about to do the Curry Ridge Trail. This trail would be really cool if it was a clear day. You get amazing views of Denali from the top. Unfortunately, it was pretty foggy and cloudy when we went up there, so we didn't get to see it, but it was still a pretty cool hike. I kept thinking toward the end of this trip that it started off pretty slow, just because the weather wasn't cooperating with us like we would have hoped, but the last 2 days of this trip ended up being my favorite. And these first couple of days just led up to that, so I'm still very thankful for them. Right now we're at the summit of Curry Ridge Trail. It overlooks a beautiful lake with pine trees around it, and even on a gloomy day like this, it was still pretty cool to see. Now you can hike an extra 1/4 mile down to the lake. I'd highly recommend doing this because the views there are also pretty good. The whole hike is about 6.5 to 7 miles, so it's not super strenuous, but it does take up a good majority of the day. After we finished the hike, we still didn't give up on seeing Denali. It cleared up a little bit and we stopped at a few overlook spots. We ended up seeing the base of it, we think, but we never saw the peak. At least we didn't think so. The clouds behind us here could be pretty deceiving at times and look like mountaintops. The next day, we ate breakfast and then it was time to pack up camp and head to our second destination of the trip, which was Seward, Alaska. And if I'm being honest, this was my favorite part. All of the views you just saw were from one of my favorite roads in Alaska. It's Highway 1, otherwise known as Seward Highway. Along the road, we also stopped at the Byron Glacier hike. This is a shorter 3-mile hike, but it has incredible views of the Byron Glacier. You can even walk up on the glacier, which is what we did. You'll see that in a second. It is pretty snowy, a little bit icy and slippery, but as long as you have hiking poles, you're good to go. I also want to point out as you're watching this that I am not an advanced hiker by any means. Number one, nobody made me feel bad about that on this trip, which is incredible. And number two, all of these hikes are going to be accessible to you even if you are a beginner or intermediate hiker. I'll point out toward the end where it starts to get a little bit sketchy if you don't have much experience or the proper equipment, but for now, you're good on all of the ones I've mentioned so far. We were having so much fun playing in the snow like we were kids again, taking photos, and just soaking in the views. And after we're done with all of this, we're going to continue on our journey down to Seward, Alaska, set up camp, and get ready for the next day. This next day was the most challenging yet rewarding day that we had during our whole trip to Alaska. First, we stopped at an overlook to see where we would be hiking. Yep, to the top of that glacier right there. That is Exit Glacier, and we'll be hiking up next to it so that we can see Harding Ice Field up top. An ice field is what spans hundreds of miles across the top of a mountain, and then glaciers run off of them. So when you get to the top and you see the ice field, literally all you can see is ice. This is the part where I said it might get a little bit sketchy. I'd suggest hiking poles and microspikes if you're newer to hiking and a little bit scared. This hike took us around the land portion of Kenai Fjords National Park. The next day, we'd be embarking on my favorite activity of the whole trip, the water portion of Kenai Fjords National Park. We went on a wildlife boat cruise with Major Marine Tours where we saw so many different types of Alaskan wildlife. I can't wait to show you. Our tour was lucky enough to see something called bubble net feeding by humpback whales while we were cruising. Basically, you see these birds swarm around a single area, and then all of a sudden you see all of the whales' faces pop out of the water, and then you'll see their whale tails coming up soon after. This is an incredibly rare thing to see on tours like this, so we were all super excited.
And you pulled me, yeah, you pulled me to the shore. You held me in your arms when I was broken, when this world's still making sense to me. I can't sleep, not in this bed if you aren't in and out. No, I can't breathe, it's killing me. No, you won't be around. Everything, you meant everything, and I won't lose you now. 'Cause I just can't imagine what it'd be like trying to laugh when you were the one who gave me the chance to try to get by, knowing inside I still miss you. To say I'm alright, but every night I still need you. I want you back to me.
This wasn't just a wildlife cruise, we also got to see this huge glacier that was running off of Harding Ice Field where we hiked to the day before. We ended up staring at it for about 20 minutes, trying to see if we could see an ice piece falling off. We ended up hearing it but not seeing it. Usually they happen far apart like lightning and thunder. As we were cruising back, we were going through this field of ice that had fallen off the glacier prior to us coming to it, and the crew actually scooped up some of this ice and made margaritas with it on board. So you know I had to try one, and they were pretty good.
Cause I just can't imagine what it'd be like trying to laugh when you were the one who gave me the chance to try to get by, knowing inside I still miss you. To say I'm alright, but every night I stare at the wall, losing my mind, and try to pretend I don't want you back to me.
On this cruise, we got to see whales, sea lions. Here you see puffins swimming in the water. These birds are so cute. They remind me of penguins, just in a little bit warmer of a climate. Even though we saw all of these amazing animals, my favorite part of this entire cruise was the scenery that we were sailing past. I had never seen landscape like this before. The mountainous islands covered in pine trees with fog all around. It was incredible and surreal and just felt otherworldly to me. We even saw people kayaking in this water, which must have been pretty cold, but they looked like they were having a good time. The company that we were cruising with was called Major Marine Tours, and I highly recommend them. Their narration was awesome. They have lots of places to sit, including a designated table for you and your party. I'd check them out if you're in Seward, Alaska. And just like that, our time in Alaska has come to an end. We had one last campfire together, and in the morning, we packed up the trailer to head back to the airport in Anchorage, Alaska. I will cherish meeting these people and making these memories for the rest of my life. This was such an incredible trip. So thank you to everyone, including our guide, Lana. She was incredible.
Know that I'm well aware. I don't want anything left untried.